This is the Flask number 12. It is the penultimate issue in this excellent story arc with Bart Simpson's becoming the Flask. A very short run on a book by Marc and Guggenheim, which, at only 5 issues long, manages to cover a lot of ground and makes it clear that there was still a lot more potential in telling stories with Bart Simpson's as the Flask. The art, as well as this cover, is by Tommy Daniels. He took over the art in the last part and he draws the final 3 issues. We pick up where we left off. The Green Flask, he is leading all of the Flask's baddies in a museum robbery. And at the same time, Bart Simpson's, he has gotten into bother with the po-po. So in a surprising twist, Bart Simpson's, he comes out to the police and reveals he is really the Flask and that he needs to go and stop the villains. There's a lot of subplots going on. We have a whole thing with Bart's mum from the future and Bart Simpson's relationship falling apart. But those are kind of taking the back seat because we have got the Flask fighting his major baddies and, well, actually, the stuff with his mum is important because she saw the future and she saw that Bart Simpson's will die. And here we have Bart Simpson's and he points out that someone is following him. You'll want to come back to this page after reading the story once. So then we have got our baddies all together. It's all the big Flask baddies. We've got Frigiman, we've got Heathwave, we've got Mirror Man, and leading them is Green Flask. Green Flask, he is a baddie specific to this version of the Flask. He is Bart Simpson's nemesis, like Sideshow Bob or Dr. Demento. I'll probably look at them old Flask ones by William Messner Loebs and Nathan Van Scribbler, the ones that introduce them. Actually, I think I already did that. I looked at the one that was Green Flask's first appearance. The one with Batman and the Jokers in it. So there's this ongoing idea that the Flask is running towards his inevitable death. A very fatalistic mood, but maybe, now that he knows what will happen, maybe he can change it and he won't have to die. This bit with Green Flask and Alakazam, it's not just that this is a run that is doing good stories with Bart Simpson's as the Flask. These are properly good Flask stories, full stop. His villains, they are treated with respect and given proper depth. Like if I told you there was a story starring Bart Simpson's as the Flask, where Alakazam is treated as a fully competent and intelligent baddie, you wouldn't believe us. It's chalk and cheese with that Justice League I just reviewed. Alakazam, he is someone who is so easy to write off as being like those baddies in the Unjustice League, but a single page here and Alakazam is just written up well. I am now interested in this character. So Jessica Lovejoy, Bart Simpson's girlfriend, she's gonna leave America to go to boarding school because you see, it turns out she did steal the money in the church collection plate, but then Bart's mum, Crystal, she shows up and tells her that Bart Simpson's needs their help. And then we get back to Bart Simpson's and he is tunnelling underground to try and surprise the baddies. And Alakazam over here, he cottoned onto the fact that Green Flask was gaslighting the others and Green Flask's motivations. He said he was building a machine to stop time, but he's actually building a machine to steal the Speedo Force, and he was using the baddies as bait to lure Bart Simpson's there. Green Flask, he was just wanting selfish revenge. And then Bart Simpson shows up to break their fighting up. And we have got our big Flask versus Green Flask fight, which is interrupted by the arrival of the rest of the Villians. So now it is just a throwdown between Bart Simpsons and all the Big Flask nemesises. And he's obviously a bit overwhelmed by numbers, but he keeps on fighting. Like here, he comes up with the idea to use Frigiman's gun against Heathwave. And then we have got Crystal and Jessica Lovejoy. They teleport in and they go to inspect Green Flask's big science machine, which is meant to steal away and stop Flask's speed powers. But they are too late. It has already been activated. And the Flask, his powers cut out at the worst possible time. And look, he falls out because he was running at super speed when they cut out. And now Bart Simpson's, he lies defeated with his baddies looking down on him like the last issue's cover. And then we find out who it was that Bart saw following him earlier on. It was the Black Flask. He is like death for the Flasks. He is an Ard Van Morrison character, an idea. So Bart Simpson's, he has been followed by death. But where the Black Flask appears, the death of a speedster always follows. And that would be a good enough cliffhanger to end on, but it's not enough for this crazy run of loads of ideas, and instead, the Speedo Force is too much for Green Flask's machine. It cannot hold all the energy, and it's going to do a big explosion. And the release is going to be the equivalent of 10 atomic bombs. To be continued. How is Bart Simpson's gonna get out of this one? Maybe Jack LaLanne will show up again and save him the Jack LaLanne way. How did Bart and Lisa even know who Jack LaLanne is? That is sloppy writing, but it is season 10 and most of the writing is sloppy by that point. So I rate this one 7 thumbs up.